I don't know how much confidence that Jake Paul have in all this, but you know he's gonna be a lot quicker. And if he stay close to Mike,
whatever you do, stick and move. Stick and move. Don't stand in front of that man. Do not stand in front of my man.
Jake, what do you think of Jake?
Would you look at it as a joke if your team was like, yo, we want you to fight Jake Paul? Would you be like, come on, man?
I laugh at him.
Would you ever do a fight like that?
I feel as though in my career, I can't do that right now.
StephenASmith launched a fiery attack on Gervonta Tank Davis during live TV, saying he should be embarrassed, with his usual intensity and direct tone. Smith criticized Davis for taking on YouTuber turned boxer Jake Paul, calling the fight more show than sport. He slammed the mismatch as a circus and labeled it an insult to boxing, accusing Davis of trading honor for...
Steven, I wanted you to come on the show to tell me that you think I'm a great boxer.
I think you're a damn good boxer with a lot of potential. And I got one problem with you, and I told you this already. You are skilled. You cannot be going in the ring beating up on dudes that you know don't box. You can't have a basketball player, UFC fighters. No, they strike. They don't box. There's a difference. They're not on your level.
As we all know, as a competitive sport boxing fan, this is nonsense. It doesn't make any sense for the sport, for Tank as a world champion fighting Jake Paul, as Jake Paul trying to become a world champion fighting Tank. None of that makes sense. Business-wise, this thing's going to blow up. So let's see about the business of this thing. Let's see what the narrative is for this fight. Because again, I think Jake's going to come in there and try to knock Tank Davis out. And if Tank's not taking him seriously, believe it or not, that potentially could happen. And I'll explain why. The breakdown, let's go.
Smith pointed to the huge size and background difference, noting Jake Paul usually weighs over 200 pounds while Davis fights at 135. He asked if such a spectacle might hurt boxing's image, warning that high-profile crossover matches risk turning the sport into a joke. Smith also reacted strongly to the disputed majority draw between Davis and Lamont Roach in March. He stressed Davis's record speaks for itself and dismissed claims that criticism was fair.
I can't buy the hype at this particular moment in time. Now, I'll give Jake Paul credit for this. At least he's in the ring with a boxer. But 57 years old is 57 years old. And 57 years old and formally walking into a UFC fight as an audience member, as a patron with a cane, it's hard to me believe a year later that you're going to be in any condition to really, really fight. I hope I'm wrong, but I don't know. And if you're Jake Paul, here's what I want to say to you. It's Mike Tyson, that's fine. It's a money fight, I get you, and you want to make money. But at some point in time, if you keep telling us that you're taking boxing seriously and you want to be recognized as a big-time boxer / fighter, you're going to have to fight somebody closer to your age, who is a contender at the very least in the sport and who lives with it every single day. Could you please get in the ring with somebody? Pretty please with sugar on top. I'm interested. GervontaDavis might be every bit as box office as Maverick himself. As exciting, as electric, because this dude performs every time out, y'all. Wherever Davis goes, wherever he fights, fans justifiably follow. He's that special. And Davis is without a doubt one of the top 5 pound-for-pound fighters in the world right now. Don't you even doubt it.
Smith even ranked Davis among the top 3 fighters in the world, praising his strength, skills, and knockout power. Tank is a world champion and a respected name in boxing. Jake Paul, however, is mainly a YouTuber and new to the sport after coming from entertainment. For a proven and decorated champion to face a newcomer with little experience could harm his legacy. Smith argued the matchup is far below Tank's status, which is why he insisted Davis should feel ashamed.
The world to recognize this is one of the top 5 fighters on the planet. He might be top 3.
Yeah.
You can make a legitimate argument for him to be in 3, 1, or whatever. Frank Martin, props to him, came into the fight 18-0, 12 knockouts. Clearly did not have the power to keep GervontaDavis from stalking him from opening tap. That's what he did. He stalked him and stalked him and stalked him. Okay? Frank Martin caught him with some good shots. GervontaDavis kept coming. So he can punch. He's a knockout artist. He can box. He's not given enough credit for it, okay? He closes. He finishes. Once he smells blood, he's like a shark in blood-infested waters, Molly. He will finish you, okay? And by the way, he is an elite boxer. And so the time has come for this man.
Stephen A. voiced sharp criticism for the rising trend of mismatched exhibition fights, including Paul against Mike Tyson, saying Paul was sad and even disgusted by the idea, calling the pairing outright unfair. He stressed that Paul needs to fight serious contenders, not older athletes or retired stars. Still, Stephen A. admitted Paul has strong promotion skills and knows how to draw attention. But he made it clear that to build real credibility, Paul must face true.
Jake Paul is a professional. At some point in time, I don't give a damn if it's a light heavyweight. Better be a Bivol, a super middleweight, Canelo, Mexican Monster, David Benavidez, somebody that actually has a reputation. The time has come for Jake Paul to step into the ring with a cat who actually boxes for a living and give us that fight. I appreciate the fact of him promoting. I appreciate him having the cachet as a former YouTuber turned boxer. I like Jake Paul. I respect Jake Paul. I'm just saying, because I like him and because I respect him, I want to see him in the ring. And I don't want to hear, I know his numbers are better, but then he going to say, I don't need Canelo. Canelo needs me. Well, wait a minute. It ain't just about popularity, bruh.
After Davis called him out following the Tyson fight, Jake Paul eased the mood with a witty, self-aware joke. At the post-fight press conference, he welcomed the idea of fighting Davis but joked about Davis's height, comparing the situation to weight class rules and humorously asking if a height rule exists too. It was a playful jab that highlighted both the big size difference and the showmanship of the exchange, adding humor to what was otherwise a tense promotional scene.
Right. Jake Paul responds to GervontaDavis call out and absolutely takes the moment and the opportunity to clown GervontaDavis's height in the sport of boxing. And he says here, is there a height limit in the sport of boxing? This is where Jake Paul says, and his team, GervontaDavis needs me. We don't need GervontaDavis. Let's listen here.
GervontaDavis just posted that he would beat the brakes off of you if you guys fight.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be down. Let's run it. Like, I'll be super, super down.
I don't know if Gervonta needs Jake Paul. Let's be clear, right?
Is there a height limit in boxing?
Raleigh Romero believes Paul versus Davis on Netflix would be a massive attraction, especially for young American fans. He says while Canelo versus Crawford will connect strongly with Mexican and Latin American audiences, the Paul Davis event would draw a larger U.S. viewership, particularly among those under 20. Romero thinks both fights expand boxing's reach, which helps the sport grow. He admits Canelo versus Crawford is the better sporting.
The impact Tank's legacy if Jake Paul were like to beat him or even like knock him out.
Dude, Tank's a 3-division world champion, 4-time 3-division world champion. At the end of it, bro, you can't take anything away from him. Bro, you can't be mad at somebody for doing what they feel is best for them. It's the same way Roach feels Tank is the best option for him. Same way that Stevenson thinks Tank's the best option for him or like all this stuff, right? At the end of it, bro, we just want to do what's best for ourselves, right?
Facts.
Right or wrong?
Facts.
So just do what's best for you.
All of a sudden, we want to know who will win in this fight, Jake Paul or Tank Davis. It's a legit question. And I actually want to really hear your thoughts on who do you think is going to win. Because I know what Vegas is saying, but I want to know what you think. You got
Personally, I think Tank too little, bro.
Yo,
I think Tank too little.
I'm so glad you have brain on your fucking shoulder.
I think Tank
the
too
way
little.
I did. I said, bro.
I think Tank's too little. That's what I'm saying. They have weight classes for a reason.
Davis
They have weight classes for a reason.
5'5", 135 pounds. Jake Paul is 6 feet, 205 pounds.
That's what I'm saying.
Bro.
He's too
6'1",
little.
205. Everybody's like, yeah, bro, but Tank going, it only takes one good punch. Yes, it takes one good punch when you're about the same size. There's a 60, 70-pound difference in weight in these people. I don't think nobody puts the physics in mind. Jake Paul gets punched in the face by dudes 200 pounds with all their might on a weekly basis. A 135-pound puncher, bro. If y'all remember the Mayweather versus Conor McGregor fight, Conor walks around like 180 on the regular. He's like 5'9", 180. Mayweather's like 5'7", 145. That 30-pound, 20, 30-pound difference, bro, if you remember that fight, Mayweather was putting mittens on Conor. Guess what happened to Conor? He didn't hit the ground once.
No.
He lasted all 12 rounds getting hit with flurries. I'm talking about Mayweather was having his time. He's being cocky with it, hitting with all kind of combos. And we're watching the last 3 rounds of that shit like, yo, knock him out. And you know what? He could not knock him out because Conor gets punched by people that are 170, 180 pounds on a regular. And just that 20, 30 pound difference, it was like impossible for him to do anything. That's exactly what I feel like is going to happen versus Jake and Tank.
UBC lightweight champion Shakur Stevenson issued a firm warning to Davis as hype built around Tank possibly fighting Paul. Stevenson called the idea of an exhibition with Paul disrespectful to boxing, saying that if Davis wanted real respect, he would face a true rival like him. Confident that he is the top man in the division, Stevenson challenged Davis to prove it by meeting him in the ring instead.
Paul didn't say you got your eye on Tank. What do you think about the rumors of Tank and Jake fighting?
Man, Tank disrespectful to the sport if he choose that over fighting with me. I'm the best fighter in the sport. I've been telling him that. He called cap on it. So if you gonna call cap and say I'm not who I say I am, come prove it. You know, he fighting pay-per-view, knocking these dudes out. That don't take away the fact that I can beat this dude. That dude get to feeling himself and feeling like he's something that he's not. And to the world, he look like a killer, but I can't wait. I'm gonna expose him. I'm exposing him. I promise you, I'm gonna expose him. Watch. I'm gonna be the person that exposes him. I'm gonna be the person that she going there, he not gonna knock out. He not gonna hurt. He gotta go 12 rounds with somebody and somebody gonna be beating him. He ain't gonna like that shit. That shit gonna mess with his heart. That shit gonna fuck with his head. Why?
Davis's longtime coach, Calvin Ford, stated openly that the only man with the talent to beat Tank is Tank himself. Ford told StephenASmith that no fighter has forced Tank to his limits yet. He added that Tank still hasn't shown his full potential and that he is training Davis to bring out even more. Ford believes the best version of Tank is still ahead.
To see you as a guy that's in his trainer, that's like a father figure to him. You're training him all the time. You know him. Both y'all from the streets of Baltimore the whole bit. Who do you want to see Tank fighting?
I want him to get all of them that ran their mouth.
Give me the names. I need names, Calvin. I need names.
You already know. We went down to, we working on the big four. It was Garcia. That's the first one. Roma, I hope we get him soon. Shakur, he's going to get it. He know he's going to get it. It's just Bob is in charge of that. You know what I'm saying? Bob know what he's doing over there. You can't tell Bob how to run his game because he's like a vet at this. He's been doing it for so many years. That's going to happen. All the fights that we'll want, they have no choice. They're going to take the fight when it's time to take the fight. It's just right now, who's going to take the fight? That's the question.
Teddy Atlas sees Davis as the most complete lightweight today, pointing to his power, counterpunching, footwork, patience, and intelligence in the ring. He believes Davis is the only fighter with the right tools to handle the defensively skilled Paul. Atlas explained that Davis is strong not just in punching, but in every technical area, timing, pressure, counters, and boxing IQ, all as important as speed or style. The podcast also revisits...
One final thing I'm going to throw at you. The news, Jake Paul versus Tank Davis. Now, here on this podcast a few weeks ago, we talked about the possibility of Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua. And that one got me a little excited and gave a lot of credit to Paul if it was going to happen, because he wouldn't have all the advantages that we've been accustomed to seeing him have, right? He wouldn't be the taller, the longer, the younger fighter in a lot of cases that he has.
And he'd be in with a real boxer, a real world champion boxer. That the only other time he was in for the fans to get mad with that was against Fury's Tommy Fury, but it wasn't that level, obviously, and all the size things you just rightfully pointed out. But he would have been in there with, it seemed crazy. You're going to go in there with a guy who was a two-time heavyweight champ and a gold medalist? Wow. Even though the guy's, at a twilight part of his career, still.
And you've given a lot of credit and props to Jake Paul on this show of helping get more eyeballs to the sport, but the way he takes it serious and goes about his approach and his work to this craft, that he does take it seriously. With that being said, when he announces Tank Davis, I'm getting tired of these gimmick fights and him loading the deck up, whether it was Chavez Jr. or an old Mike Tyson, or we could go on and on with some of the UFC guys and the great Anderson Silva at 46 years of age. Tank Davis, great fighter, current fighter, world champion. We know how good he is. Been a top 10 pound for pound guy for you for the last few years now, but he's 5'5" and 135 pounds. This sounds like it would be a 195-pound fight.
Former heavyweight Eddie Chambers warned Jake Paul that facing Tank Davis would be nothing like any opponent he has ever seen. Chambers pointed to Davis's speed, strength, and boxing intelligence, saying Jake's fights with older or inexperienced names won't prepare him for Tank's intensity. Many dismiss the fight as a money grab disguised as sport, driven by profit instead of competition. Boxing writers described it as a cartoon-like stunt, saying it trades tradition for social media clicks. In their view, it's a sad moment for the sweet science.
This is James Dutton for Round 8 Boxing. Delighted to be joined with Jamie Moore. Jamie, how are you, mate?
I'm all right, thanks. You?
Stuff, yeah, very good. Thank you, mate. Let's get straight into the big news that came out today. I don't know if you've seen it yet or not. Exhibition in November, Jake Paul versus Gervonta Tank Davis. What do you make of it?
I haven't seen that. I'm trying my best to stay off social media, to be honest with you. I'm not succeeding that well, but while I was away on holiday, I've been my phone off for 2 weeks, and I enjoyed the break from it, and it's slowly creeping back. I'm trying to stay away from the light, but yeah, I've not seen that. So interesting. He's so much bigger than Gervonta, like so much bigger. So I don't know how much of an exhibition it'll be, but because I'm assuming if and when he lands on Gervonta, he ain't going to take it well. I'm sure he's going to set about him. So that should be interesting, just for the fact of the size difference, to be honest.
I mean, a lot of people are already saying Tank's going to knock him out. You know, he's world champion, but at 135 pounds. Jake weighed over 200 pounds in his last fight. Just how much of a factor is that fight, regardless of how much of a novice Jake Paul is?
Yeah, listen, these weight divisions for a reason. And, you know, when I think it was Logan Paul who fought Floyd Mayweather in an exhibition, and he had moments where he had success, literally just because of the size of him.
New fans are left asking what the sport truly values when such mismatches headline events. Instead of rewarding skill and merit, the spotlight shifts to entertainment value. The imbalance shows a change in priorities, turning boxing into novelty acts instead of ranking contests. Critics blast the huge weight gap, with Paul fighting near 200 pounds and Davis a 135-pound lightweight, calling it bullying. Others argue it damages boxing's image, comparing it to WWE. Still, some accept Davis's choice, saying he's simply chasing the payday. Voices like Andre Berto note that Davis doesn't care about traditionalists and is focused on financial success.
To keep it solid with you, I'm not a fan of this matchup at all. You got JakePaul, who's been eating county jail spreads for the last month and a half, and he didn't look good in his last fight against Roach, where he had a draw, but most people felt like he got his ass tapped, so he needs the money. Then you got Jake Paul, who gets to beat on a nigga a whole foot shorter than him and 100 pounds lighter than him. And I think this is just nasty work. This screams money grab. And you know what? The fans lose in the end on this one. Netflix wins, Jake Paul wins, and Tank wins. We lose. Nasty work.